The following is a presentation of Team Bonding, providing more than 100 live, virtual, or hybrid corporate team building activities for companies around the world. Visit teambonding.com to schedule your event now.
Hello, team. Once again, it's me, Rich Rinnensland, and I'm welcoming you to Team Building Around the World, the podcast where I speak to people from the team bonding, team building industry from all across the globe. Today, I'm very excited. We're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm speaking today of the Director of Strategic Partnerships of Virtway, Mr. Adam Michaelson, and we'll get to him in just 1 second. First, I do want to take a moment to send some love out to my supporters. The show is supported by the Catalyst Team Building Network. Find out more about the world's largest team building providers at catalystglobal.com. And I also want to thank our friends at B1G1, which can make your business a real force for good. Visit b1g1.com to get started. And now, ladies and gentlemen, since 2018, he has been the Director of Strategic Partnerships for Virtway. Virtway, which is a focus on development of enterprise solutions using 3D technology. Please give a Team Building Around the World welcome to Mr. Adam Michaelson. That's just some virtual people that I keep trapped under my desk for just such occasions, Adam.
I love it. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Oh, thank you. Tell everybody where you're coming from today.
Today I'm in France. I'm about an hour south of Lyon. I'm in 2-week quarantine after a 3-month time being in the United States, away from my home here.
Ah, what brought you to France? Because you're originally from New York, is that right?
You got it. I was born and raised in New York. It's a lovely international story brought me to meet a wonderful woman who is from really close by to where I am. I'm quarantining outside of our home. And so I moved here about 3 years ago.
Wow.
And have been making our home together and our lives together here.
Very nice. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And not too shabby finding someone to love in France. So please, beyond that, can you tell my listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So I was always interested in education and education policy, and actually went on to practice law, working for school districts. And it was really interesting work, focused on mediation and negotiation, and like with the unions, it gets pretty complicated, and at times it gets conflict oriented. I knew that I wanted to be a part of organizations that were a bit more proactive and entrepreneurial, and I joined a business-to-business health and wellness company, bringing different offerings inside of companies. That was back in 2013. So ever since then, I've really been in this space of thinking about how to offer teams ways for them to connect better and also be more effective. And that's been in a lot of different iterations, but that was like the leap that I took. And that's really what led me on this path a bit more directly.
Now, just to let my listeners know out there, as part of full disclosure, you and I met briefly virtually just a few weeks ago, when the team from Team Bonding here in Stoughton, we decided to play a little virtual 3D murder mystery online. Is that the kind of thing you folks at Virtway do?
So we're a very open-minded company, thinking about what virtual is and how to kind of bring people into places where they might let their guard down a little bit. Mm-hmm. They're able to connect with either people on their team or external folks for trainings and events, conferences. So yes, we met on the set of a virtual country western for a murder mystery. And that's just one flavor of all of the work that we do. That was experimental. That's in production, and we're selling that as an activity for teams that are distributed or remote or
fantastic.
Just,
it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself.
I didn't realize I switched my hat from like being Adam and like trying this to like being really serious about my character. And it was a really interesting moment. I was like, I need to take this seriously. And I did. And it was awesome. I had a really good time also.
Can you tell my folks out there a little bit more about the Western murder mystery?
Sure. So this is kind of like one game.
Uh-huh.
And our software looks like a video game, a 3D video game, but it was built for large enterprise companies to do trainings and large events. We've seen a great uptick in our business over the past 6 months with quarantine. Right. This specific product has you assume one of up to 20 characters in a Western town with like a saloon and a bakery and a sheriff's precinct. And there's someone who has committed a murder, and everyone kind of accuses each other. It's a little bit like a mix of Clue and Whodunit, but role playing, where you really fill in the character with your own texture. And that's the basis of it. There's a facilitator who takes you through it, and there's some different sessions that bring you to arrive at the point where everyone votes for who done it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's it. And it lasts about an hour, and I had a ball, and it was pretty funky.
Just talking about pitching, talking about Clue and role-playing, you're tweaking every one of my nerd muscles when you start talking about this stuff. Like I said, it was a lot of fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. But what are some other things that you guys have done in the past and are looking to build towards? So
the core is this functionality where you're able to talk to people and listen to them in 3D space.
Right.
We build the 3D spaces. They're amphitheaters, auditoriums, rooftops, like poolsides, whatever we want, whatever people need. Mm-hmm. And so we've been meeting the market where it is for years. As far as team building specifically, there's kind of like the very direct, straightforward way of going about this and bringing on fantastic facilitators and leaders to activate teams. We've been working with folks in the team bonding network as well to bring in improvisational leaders, team building coaches. And so just by virtue of being in these virtual worlds, we're able to break down barriers and have substantive conversation and fun. And then more on the product side, we also have a virtual escape room, which is more like a riddles and puzzles that kind of feels like you're working with a team to solve and get through this maze for time. And we've had a lot of folks go through that, quiz bowls, and we're working on a couple of other features that kind of stem from the idea of game show. We've got a lot of game show interested folks as well.
Excellent. That sounds like just a lot of fun in general, but
yep.
I'm very, very specifically, I love escape rooms. So just hearing that there's going to be one out there, or that there is one. Is there anywhere that anybody can go and like look these things up? Can you give yourself a little self-plug? We have demos, and we also have free offerings through our website at virtwayevents.com. That's VIRTWAY events.com. Sign up for a demo. It's just a half hour. We link you up through Zoom, and we show you everything that we have. And that's where I have the most fun. 4 to 6 times a week, I meet random people on Zoom with an interest in team building, and love to hear what people are up to and interested in. And if it's not built yet, we're happy to look into it, and we love to build new things. Great. Thanks, Adam. Give me 1 second here if you don't mind. Sure. I want to take a break for a minute and tell all my folks out there about Catalyst Team Building Network, an association of team building providers. With representatives in over 90 countries speaking more than 20 languages, the Catalyst Network is widely regarded as the voice of the team building industry. Network members share resources, best practices, and business opportunities. Catalyst partners are learning from each other and pushing the boundaries of what is possible in team building. Catalyst Network members share a common goal of creating highly relevant, socially responsible, good valued experiences for their clients. For more information, please visit catalystglobal.com. The Catalyst Team Building Network, the world's largest network of team building providers. So, Adam, let's talk about you a little bit more. How long have you been with Virtway and in this kind of business? In the virtual team building has been 2 years. Okay. But before that, it's been 7 years thinking about team building and just orienting teams toward working better together outside of the legal world. What brought you into this kind of thing? I mean, what made this the direction you wanted to go? I was looking for a tech company that had a global footprint where I could make a big impact. And there was
new ways that people were connecting. I saw a lot of trends and had in previous product, like technology product role, had been really focused on like what is trending, where is the world heading toward. This was 2017, 2018. It really seems like a potent time for people to be thinking about how to express themselves more and connect with people more, but not necessarily be evaluated or judged as being present or being in front of someone else. Okay. There are a lot of expectations and like thoughts that people show up with when they're physically in the same place as someone.
Gotcha.
And virtual representations of people have been shown to actually like enable harder and more robust conversations, more challenging conversations. So this was like in the back of my mind, and I saw the market going this way early. And that's proven out pretty clearly that that's going to continue. There's some parts of the world that are a bit faster to bring this on, but it really looks like the past 3-ish months have accelerated all pathways toward thinking about just people connecting.
Yeah, I mean, ever since we came into this new world with COVID involved, everybody's looking for the next thing to help get people back together again. So
yeah,
congratulations on being on the forefront of that.
Thank you.
But it is also nice to know that this isn't just something you're springing on everybody, that this is something you folks have already been building towards for the past several years. Let me talk a little bit about yourself here. You said you were a lawyer and you were focusing on conflict resolution and things like that. How is it that you find that your new career helps with that, or dovetails into that?
Yeah. So, I mean, the focus then was really on education, and it was on solution building. And those things in the abstract lend really well to our platform because there's always something that we're driving toward with people being in the same place together. So I think like what I left behind was more the conflict resolution, but what I bring forward is like, what is the mediation point where we're like, this is what your goal is, and this is what our goal is, and how can we go together? I also like, one reason why I moved this way was there's a concept called like solution selling and like consulting selling. Okay. And for me personally, like I love having a conversation, being like, well, you know, if you had a magic wand, what would you want or have? And we build 3D virtual worlds from scratch. So we're in the business of waving magic wands and making things happen. Having that like, well, what I would really want is, and then us being able to do it because we have that sort of breadth. It's like, it always feels awesome to give people what it is they want and need when they don't think it's possible.
How fast of a turnaround do you have? Say if I were to come to you and say that this is what I'm looking for, how fast can I assume we're going to be up and ready to go?
So there was a rumor during one of our events that a certain product, like a certain clothing product, was available and was going to be built, and it came from nowhere. Like some like bird, some like, you know, some thing started this rumor. Someone started this rumor, and within a matter of like, it was less than a day, we got it built just to like meet the rumor. So
really,
we can build clothing and certain products like within a matter of hours. If you wanted a whole room or like a complex machine brought into a virtual world, it could take a couple of days. We would want to plan it out and make sure that we have like a couple of chances to ensure that the customers get exactly what they want. But yeah, we're fast. Our 3D modelers and the system that we built makes us really fast.
Fantastic. How many people do you have working on your team?
So core team's right around 30, but over the past 2 years, we've been building a tremendous partner network where we have like over 300 full-time employees around the world in our partners.
Fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, it's been wild. It's been great, though.
Good. Now, let me take a second. If I can, I'm going to switch some gears on you. One of the things that we're really interested in is the charitable side of the business. Do you have anything like that in store with yourself? I've been working
with a couple of charities over the past couple of years. I'm on the board of a charity in Austin, Texas called the Amala Foundation, which focuses on youth empowerment. We learn a lot from youth from like 10 to 25 years old. And the organization was built over the past 15 years. It focuses in on authenticity, social emotional learning, at-risk youth, having places for them to learn how to show up in their lives empowered, and also plan what it is that they want to be doing now and into the future. So we have wonderful facilitators, yoga instructors, mediation people with social work background, fulfilling their role in addressing the different wants and needs of these youth throughout the Austin, Texas area.
And that was the
awesome experience.
The Amala Foundation, you say?
The Amala Foundation. That's correct. Yep. Okay. Multicultural youth, refugees, asylees, and people who just really want to connect, especially teenagers that are looking for another way of learning about how to exist on the earth in a meaningful way. It's a great organization, and they're doing great work, especially in Austin.
Just send out some love to them. Is there a website that people can go to?
I think it's amalafoundation.org. AMALA Foundation.
Yep.
FOUNDATION.org. And then I've got one more plug. So I've met a wonderful founder named Catherine Cosmides, who started it's a social venture. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, but its goal is to be a sustainable business. It's called Garbo. Garbo is GARBO.io. And Garbo focuses on gender violence and safety of especially women before first encounters with men. So it's great for people who might be on dating websites or using rideshare or using some sort of sharing economy platform where you don't necessarily know who's on the other end.
Right.
And it enables people to have background checks really, really fast with very limited information that may or may not even include information that are in like official police reports and documents.
I'm the father of a 14-year-old girl, so knowing that there's things like that out there that can help keep her safe, that is very important to me. Now about Virtway itself.
So Virtway early on has been focused on education, corporate education, but also thinking more about how people can connect all over the world, including students.
Great.
We early on partnered with a professor of education at a Spain-based university. Her name is Deborah, and Deborah teaches teachers.
Okay.
And so for the past like 5 years, Deborah has been working inside of Virtway on her own. We essentially give her access to teach teachers. And to teach teachers how to utilize virtual solutions like Virtway to connect with their students and to offer new modalities for their teaching.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Deborah's just one of, we worked with a bunch of universities. I'm very interested right now. There's actually a group that kind of ties the whole room together here. A new contact of mine, because of Virtway, is looking to bring in her work in Southern California. It's called Bright, BRITE. Bright Youth does some of that same social emotional learning work that's very important, especially in the United States market right now, and bringing that into Virtway. So she has a 501c3, and the goal is in the next couple of weeks for them to create a virtual world specifically for youth to come on in and experience all of the same programs that they were previously, but because schools are closed, inside Virtway.
Right. That's fantastic. That really is fantastic. I love hearing about everything that folks are doing out there just to help and to give back. And speaking of which, give me one more second as we go one more time to one of my reads.
Sure.
And I want to tell you, all of you out there, about B1G1, which can make your business a real force for good. When you're part of B1G1, you bring new purpose, meaning, and relevance to your business by making giving a core of what you do. Unlike conventional giving models, B1G1 helps small and medium-sized businesses achieve more social impact by embedding giving activities in their everyday business operations to create unique giving stories. Every business transaction can impact lives from just as little as 1 cent. So please, give B1G1.com a look to get started. B1G1, business for good. And we're back. So let's talk about some of your personal experiences, virtually, I should say. What are some of your favorite things that you found online? Some of your company, some of your favorite events.
Some of the favorite virtual events are really the ones that that organize themselves, that really keep an open mind, and people can speak up and lead into what the session is. Some people call it an unconference style, but it's really once people are comfortable inside the software,
right?
They're just like in the real world. There's really nothing preventing someone from going on stage at an event. It's more a social norm that you don't go on stage and take the microphone. That's considered rude or wrong. But in a virtual world, people feel much more empowered. It doesn't feel like there's much stopping people. And so with the right encouragement and like facilitation, that happens all the time. And so we've had some of these unconferences and these open events, and that's where the most fun happens, because the power dynamic is assumed and people go with it. And by fun, I mean, like, there's a lot of laughter because you just look to who is in charge. It's like like a kid's game, who's in charge, who's the referee, and they make all the rules.
Oh, that's great. Do you have any specific examples of like fun moments or fun memories from those events?
So there's one event where there's a team that is in Asia Pacific region. They work for a big tech company, and they hadn't seen each other in over 2 months at this point because of quarantine.
Right.
And one guy was dressed up in a jean jacket, and his boss was there too, and the boss essentially said to him, like when he was speaking, or it was his term to be in charge or whatever, he's like, I didn't know you were so cool. Like I never saw you outside the office. If I knew that you were wearing a jean jacket, I would have treated you differently in the office. I guess now I have to. And so there's a layer of that's like, it's like, it's full of this energy of how do we interact with people when we don't place them, inside the office. And I think people are really experiencing that all over, whether it's on video conference or anything virtual. It's like, you really get to peer into people's lives a bit more and bring fuller conversations together. And we've seen a lot of that, especially recently.
Because it sort of activates that part of the participant's mind where they're playing a game, but they happen to be playing that game with everybody else there. Even if the game is, let's get together, dress up our virtual dolls and meet.
There was one guy who, so there's like a height setting, right? And it was a relatively long event, multiple days. And each day he made the height like just a little bit higher. And so like there's like a part of the Office TV show where like he adds a penny inside the telephone handle each day until it's like super heavy, and then he takes them all out. So like there's this like what sort of like gradual changes can happen in a virtual world was like the experiment. But like people really, they try and fill their experience with their personality more in a way that I guess like if we all are shopping on the same websites and we all are like typecast a little bit so much in the real world, having that virtual world enables us to break out of the mold and just, again, have a bit more levity in how we're interacting. And it's like self-identifying or like, showing up, like what is there, how do we describe ourselves physically,
Yeah, because when you are building your avatar, it is more of the, especially if you're trying to be as realistic as possible, but it is still a matter of this is how I see me as opposed to how you might see me. But now, how fun, how freeing is this for those people who say, well, as I was saying, the Wild West murder mystery I did with your folks, I must admit my avatar was a bit on the thinner side, and he was better at running than I am. Do you find people just having the freedom to go completely against the norm?
So this is a debate that we have a lot. So like there's some people on one side of the spectrum that say like, I don't want to spend any time doing this. Can you do it for me? Or can we just have like a default? And maybe it's, a bit more buttoned up sort of place, or people who just aren't used to video games or are not really interested. Right. So that's one side of it.
Gotcha.
On the complete other side is like, how do we keep people interested and comfortable at the same time? And we're pushing on that. We don't have that space yet. Right now, something that's really interesting is you can have a skin tone that is any color, right? So we have a ton of skin tones, and that's something that I'm very interested in us being like respectful and also accurate and comforting, but also the fact that you could be like bright green, and you could have like bright red hair. There's all of these different elements that kind of make us lose that, I would say, sensitivity to skin tone and skin color that I think is liberating. So as far as like shapes and sizes, I think we can do a lot better, and we're very much interested in that over the coming months. We're improving on that. Okay. I think that we are relatively inclusive now, and we have a lot of ways to go, and we know that, and we've come a long way in the past 6 months. This conversation would have been completely different 6 months ago. Yeah. And I'm super pumped for the next 6 months. So it'll look great.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing more too.
Thanks.
Now, let's talk about your personal life, if you don't mind, especially you're in lockdown there in France. But what is it about your background, about your personal history that you bring into your everyday life?
That sounds like a very wide open question.
Well, normally when I'm talking about this, I'm talking to people who are part of the team building enterprises, where they can actually take this teamwork and build it towards the team of their own family as well. Do you have anything like that? I mean, let's talk about your personal history and how has that really shaped the person you are now? I guess that's where I'm going.
Okay, and I'll walk arm in arm. I will dovetail with the other part of your question.
Okay.
So I think for me, in very shortly after no longer wearing a suit every day, being a lawyer, I found myself in improv classes at the co-working space in Austin, Texas that I was working from.
Okay.
And I didn't know about Yes and before 2013. I mean, I love sketch comedy, followed a lot of it, and didn't really understand the modalities or what necessarily was just like working so well and how that happened inside of sketch comedy. And obviously sketch comedy and improv are kind of just in the same world, not the same thing. But seeing that and learning those skills really was a tool in my tool belt that was like the before and after leaving like the conflict world of law and coming more toward this constructive, consultative way of thinking about how can we make things better, and what is it that we can be doing that can make things better, and that fits into team building. It fits into my everyday life. I really think that I've tried to grow into that sort of way of thinking more and more, even though there are parts of me that think about the nuance of critical thinking of what, how is this law different? How is your argument different? Right. How is my argument different? Which is a bit more, I would say, egocentric as opposed to team building, which is thinking about collective. And that's something that, it's a work in progress. And I hope to just continue to do that and be surrounded by people who are doing that and making that like priority in their work and their life. And I've made it more of a habit to do that as well.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about the improv and you talk about the yes and, I've been a professional actor for going on 26 years now.
Yeah.
So, of course, I have long ago had a huge background with improvisation myself, and taught many a class throughout the years as well. But I want to hear because it always comes out slightly differently depending upon the person who talks about it. Define yes and for me.
Yes and is thinking in an additive way to how you're interacting with other people. It's almost like you're building a story together. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the story, you want everyone to have had an awesome time. And so that comes through in dialogue, in group conversation, a lot. Right. And so it's, for me personally, being able to provide something in the conversation that with that building and knowing who else is there, mm-hmm. having them come back and also build on knowing what else is there. And by the end of the conversation, it feels like we've all come to an agreement in a way that we're super yes. And the yes and is kind of starting from a place of, I'm thinking about this being something we need to address or this being something that we want to accomplish, and then receiving and adding, and that being, again, like additive. And by the end, not only do you have something more beautiful and like cohesive, but everyone has contributed in a way where they feel a part of it. And then it could be like owned and like represented by everyone that was involved in it.
Really well done. I got to explain, that's probably, after all the years I've done this, that might be one of my favorite explanations for yes and. Well done.
Thank you.
Adam, thank you so much for being a part of the show. You have been absolutely amazing, wonderful to talk to, and I love the direction your company is going into, and I honestly think that everybody, especially in the time of COVID, needs to take a look at Virtway and see what you guys have to offer. Can we one more time give a shout out to your website and to your charities, please?
Well, so first, shout out to everyone in quarantine that I'm working with right now. We're completely distributed and remote. It's been over 85 days of quarantine in Spain, where the company's headquartered.
Wow.
So yeah, shout out to the whole Virtway team. Everyone doing awesome work despite all of the adversity, and working from home on 24 hours notice back starting in March. So shout out to Virtway Events, VIRTWAY events.com. Come check us out. Come join a demo. We have a lot of fun. We'd love to empower you and to have your people participate in virtual events and trainings. And then nonprofits. There's a ton of nonprofits out there that I look to and support. Please look to bail funds and look to the specific protests that are going on and people who are sacrificing their freedom for big movement in the United States. Also, the AmalaFoundation.org based in Austin, and Garbo.io based in New York, and then the Bright Youth based in Southern California. Thank you so much for letting me plug. That's very generous. I appreciate it.
By all means, I was enjoying it. Cool. But of course, you have to understand, I'm really just buttering you up here, Adam. As wonderful as those organizations are, I'm kind of setting you up here because it's time to put you on the hot seat with our speed round.
Okay.
Now, to explain to everybody what this is, I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to start asking Adam a bunch of just silly little questions of no real deep significance, I hope. And what we're going to do is, Adam, your job is to give me the fastest answers you can, just right off the top of your head without thinking about it too deeply, okay?
Yes.
Yep, let's see how many questions you get through, because the speed round is about to begin. Tell me your name.
Adam.
Do you have any pets?
No.
Tell me the 3 best things about you.
I'm smiling right now. I have a lovely baguette in the kitchen and love to speak with new people.
Fatastic. Who was your favorite teacher?
Ms. Paget, high school English.
Who was your 3 favorite musicians?
3 favorite musicians. I like James Taylor, I have always loved fish more than I probably should. And let's see, who else? I don't know. Outcast comes to mind for fun.
Nice. Your favorite celebrity?
I like Tom Hanks.
Okay. Who's your favorite celebrity crush?
Favorite celebrity crush? This is a hard question. The doctor from Bones right now.
Well done. Well done. All right, my friends, please give a huge round of applause one more time for Mr. Adam Michaelson. Adam, thanks again for being part of the show. It was great having you here and talking to you. And I want to thank
you very much.
Thank you. And I want to thank you, my team, for listening to Team Building Around the World. If you like this show, please share it with a friend or a colleague, and we'd be grateful if you would subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and please leave us a favorable review. Now, if you don't have anything nice to say about the show, it's fine. Just shut up about it. We're okay. All past episodes can be found at teambonding.com. And as for me, I'm Rich Riddensland. And as always, my team, if you are within the sound of my voice, you're now on my team and I'm on yours. Thanks again, everybody, and we will see you next time.
It's been said that you learn more about a person in an hour of play than in a year of conversation. So why not put your coworkers to play with the help of the team at Team Bonding? Team Bonding was founded over 20 years ago with one simple question. How can employees have a great time while fostering strong, authentic bonds between people who work together? Their catalog of innovative events includes scavenger hunts, Jeopardy, and much more. Each activity, whether live, virtual, or hybrid, maximizes the impact of team building with an accent on fun. Visit teambonding.com to schedule your event now. Team Bonding, when you want seriously fun results.